What's going on, everybody? Jim Berenger here, Full Press Hockey Weekly. Yeah, we'll let the song go on a little bit. It's all right. It's a good song. Dropkick Murphy shipping up to Boston. You know, we'll talk about the Boston Bruins today. It's a Full Press Hockey Weekly show. Voice of Full Press Hockey, Jim Berenger. Get it at Full Press NHL, fullpresshockey.com, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch. Back alongside Chris Wassel, Ian, the producer. What is going on, guys?
We're back. We're not the spinning wheel anymore, Jim.
No, we're not. We didn't have to record the audio tonight. I told you we'd be back.
This is true.
Back and better than ever. Here on a Monday night, not Wednesday, because we have some things going on. It's gonna be nice weather later in the week here in Jersey. Beach weather.
Don't shoot the person that caused this. Oh, that was me.
No, that's all right. I may join you down at Point Pleasant. I don't know, man. It's gonna be 80 degrees this week. Beach weather.
This is crazy.
Let's go.
Weather.
But as the song says, we're kicking things off the right way. Go check out Big Bad Bruins podcast. They got everything all Bruins, but we have to start off with the record-setting Boston Bruins 63rd victory of the season, new NHL record in the regular season. And oh, by the way, it's just not the team doing things, individuals too. David Pastrnak, hat trick, 60 goals, second Bruins player ever to score 60 goals in a season. If you guess Phil Esposito as the second guy, well, yeah, you're right. But what a season for the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that Connor McDavid wouldn't have to get to face San Jose as a gift. Because otherwise we would be starting to talk about what was a lock that wasn't, and that's the Rocket Richard race. Because now, unfortunately, up 4 instead of up 2, it makes a difference going into the final couple games of the season. But, you know, again, I digress. Look, what Pastrnak has done, and granted, well, all right, if you called bank shot, I mean, but all right, still go.
Banks are always open if you count them. If
you cash in, yeah.
That's it. Banks are always open. So,
you know, quite a run for Pastrnak this year, obviously, and I may be in the minority in this, but I do think he can do it again next year. I don't have a doubt in my mind. It's not just a contract year type thing. This is something that he's always been arcing towards. It's just a question of health and, you know, the percentages, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, look, if everybody's watched what he's done, I mean, he's just on a trajectory of hitting this number, and I don't see it slowing down. He's one of the best shooters in the game. 60 goals. I mean, think about it. I mean, I think he's going to be third on that list for most goals in a season by a Bruins player real soon. I think you can pass Esposito 61. I know Esposito put up a couple other big years, so I don't know if he's going to pass those numbers, but I think he'll get at least third, maybe second but again, what this team is doing is remarkable. I mean, they tie the record on Saturday against the Jersey team. That was a fun game to watch. I mean, New Jersey kind of lost that game first 6 minutes, but give credit where credit is due. They came back, made a 1-goal game. They always play Boston tough, but Boston figured out a way to get it done, and then they beat Philadelphia, and they have 63. And, you know, look, we know what happened to Tampa. We know what happened to Detroit. It's, you know, Detroit, you know, they've done it. They won to the Western Conference Final, but, you know, Tampa got swept. This Bruins team, it feels different. It just really does for some reason. I think they're going to get there, and they may win it all.
Yeah, look, now, while I disagree because, well, Cam Neely curse, line 1. Guess whose agent Timo Meier is?
Claude Lemieux.
So Claude Lemieux will be in the building if it gets to that point. I'm not saying it will happen then, but if it does, I wouldn't be surprised.
Look, I mean, we know what Claude Lemieux did back in 1995 against the Boston Bruins. Oh, by the way, the only team that won 60 games in a season.
Oh, and closed out an arena, by the way, which I have
Right, yeah, they closed out an arena.
Which I have a souvenir of, by the way.
But by the way, the 76-77 Canadians are the only team to go 60 wins and win a Stanley Cup. So
it is a wild stat, right?
It is a wild, but again, they didn't play as many games back then. I mean, they still played 80-something games, but still, I mean,
they played the same teams how many times?
Exactly. It was different. It was a different era of hockey, but those Montreal Canadian teams in the late 70s were some of the best ever. Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer, and the list goes on. But this Bruin team got Hall of Famer and Hall of Famer, and
they're pretty stacked. I mean,
they're pretty stacked, but they got depth too. Like, think about this. Like, the Taylor Halls on the third line, they do everything right. It's and I was talking about this with Richards this morning on his show.
It's true.
It's not just a Boston Bruin thing. It's a New England thing. From the Patriots to the Red Sox to the Bruins to the Celtics. Everybody gets in line. Look, McAvoy and Pasternak got paid. Fine. Those two guys were going to be outliers. But everybody else just fits with their pay structure.
They take team-friendly deals. They play within the system. They bought into Jim Montgomery's thought and process. And look, that final 20 minutes Saturday night was playoff hockey. I mean, that was fun playoff hockey. It didn't matter the score, etc., whatever. There were good chances both ways. There were great saves both ways. You had a little extra little late, maybe 2001 type snarl late, or 2000.1, depending on your. Maybe the buzzer was a little late. Bottom line is, it was a good, solid preview of what is to come. Come next week.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Well, I mean, obviously, we know playoffs start the 17th. We know every game is going to be played like it's the playoffs. Are we potentially going to get a New Jersey Boston Eastern Conference final? Maybe. Who knows? We don't know. We don't
35-year anniversary.
I mean,
Piggy.
Yeah, I mean, look, 88, and then it was 95, and it was 03, and that's about it.
Well, it's up to Boston too, because depending.
It's up to both teams. It's up to the Devils. It's up to the Bruins. We don't know.
I've learned this the hard way too many times. That 111-point team that somehow lost to the Penguins in round one. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that team. Yeah, that was 99, right?
Yeah,
they lost in Game 7. Oh, by the way, they lost to the Senators year before too.
Well, that was the ghost of Prudential Center.
Look, Boston, top to bottom, they should be there in the end. They should be one of the final four teams, if not the final two teams. And I said it yesterday on my nightcap recap. It doesn't mean a thing if you don't win the ring. So
can I prop bet that, Jim?
I think we should prop bet that. If Ian is saying
16-5.
16-5.
Okay.
I like it.
It's not 16-4 in New Jersey, so that's good. We can live with that.
That's all right.
We live with that.
I can live with that. But look, if you think about it, top to bottom, I mean, like the Devils did in 2001, outside of their series with Toronto to get to the Cup final, they pretty much dominated everybody. Same, you look at some of their runs, the best teams that go deep, that are dominant all year, do what they have to do in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You saw in the first two rounds in 03 when New Jersey was cooking, they took care of business in 5 games each time. Probably should have swept Boston that year. Didn't do it, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. And I was, but they made up for it. They had some tougher series down the road. But it's going to be interesting. Yeah, it was the gentleman's sweep. Yeah, the gentleman's sweep in both those series.
I like it.
Except that Tampa series was a little bit more interesting than it needed to be. that year, but I digress. But if you look at this Bruins team top to bottom, there's no flaws. Guys are slotted in right. The additions they've made have been great. Goaltending's been excellent, and they just continue to just be the Bruins. And to me, you mentioned Jim Montgomery and what he's done this year. Look, I know we're not supposed to give Coach of the Year to like best, these best teams and everything. If I had a vote, it's going to Jim Montgomery for Jack Adams for what he's done this year with this team. Because nobody expected it.
Nobody.
Go find the tape from when we did this at the beginning of the year. We all said, survive. Just wait till the guys that are injured are back, and they'll make the playoffs.
Yep.
No, whatever. And I have to say, look, as much as slack that Pavel Zacha got in New Jersey, the fact that he's playing with the countrymen, doing what he's doing, playing well, good for him because he's found a home in Boston.
Yep.
I mean, it's good to see for him because I think that's what he was missing in New Jersey those years when Elias retired. Now he's playing with Pastrnak, Krejci. It helps him.
Yeah. He doesn't have to be the focus either.
No, he doesn't. He could just be down there because you got Bergeron, Marchand, DeBrusque, all those guys. And everybody's falling in line. The leadership, they got this thing. And I don't think – and you could tell, yeah, these guys wanted it. But you can tell even in their interviews, they still want – they're talking about playoffs. They're still humble.
There's bigger goals, like one.
There's bigger goals. There's bigger
132
goals.
points. That's one.
Right.
And then playoffs.
I mean, they're not reaching the Canadiens plus-minus record of – but that's still impressive what they have, what they're doing.
In this era, wow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But there's much more.
But there is much more. And we talk about, besides the Bruins milestones, there are a couple other milestones this weekend. Sidney Crosby with his 1,500 point.
Wow.
Connor McDavid doing what he did. Was that 150?
150. Yeah, how weird is that happened basically within hours of each other?
Ridiculous what he was doing. Ridiculous. Was that 150 goals for him, right?
Yeah,
points.
150 point season. So you figure, wow. 15. Yeah, that's numerology at its finest right there.
Look, the Crosby, what Sidney Crosby's doing this year is ridiculous. I watched that game against Detroit on Saturday, and that backhand is still lethal. Mm-hmm. He willed his team to victory. 2 goals in that game, 1,500 points, milestone. Hey. Again, we've talked about it on this show. This Penguins team, I don't know, unless, like we said, unless the rally starts for the Islanders, they're going to somehow still be alive.
They'll be alive.
But,
speaking,
is it going to be another one and done for them? But Connor McDavid, think about Connor McDavid for a minute. 150-point season, something we haven't seen since, 96?
Feels like forever, right?
Mario. And then obviously what the Oilers did, 350 goal scorers on a team. By the way, the last team to do that was the 95-96 Penguins that had Ron Francis, Mario, and Yager on the team. So I think that's what they're doing. By the way, three guys with 100 points too. Yeah, that's it. So it's ridiculous what they're doing. But think about what Connor McDavid. He sounds like Crosby, but he also sounds like McKinnon a little bit. Even though he didn't have his McKinnon moment where he hasn't said he won anything, he's talking like it. He's saying, "Look, it's all great, but we have more to accomplish." And and you could see it in his eye. He wants to win a Stanley Cup.
Yep. We got broken news.
Breaking news.
As much as I still hate this schmuck for 2012, and I can freely say this. What? It's true. I mean, he did help. He did help the Devils more than the Flyers ever.
That's true.
All joking aside, congratulations to Claude Giroux.
Yes.
1,000 point tonight.
Congratulations.
Only,
1,000 points.
and this is where I always laugh at this, but it's crazily true. Only the 96th player in the league ever to get to 1,000 points.
Hey, that is a milestone. Well, I believe Erik Karlsson's a point away from hitting 100.
That I think is still the most mind-blowing stat of the hockey season.
He has his 24th goal tonight, and he is about to. He's 1 point away from 100 points.
How crazy is that at what 33?
Yes.
What?
That's crazy. What? But no Brent Burns. He's the man.
True.
You know.
But I mean, 33.
I mean, it's crazy. But
this is a few years removed from what we thought was, oh, that's his prime, and oh, that's great. But,
look, he's showing he's still got a lot left in that tank.
It's fun. It is fun.
I mean, I wish there was a defenseman award that wasn't the Norris for the most offensively gifted defenseman, because it's a shame that he's probably winning the Norris because of what he's doing.
Yeah, but kind of have to give it to him.
I know you do. I mean, like I said before, like, you know, the milestones are everywhere. Like you said, 3 Oilers over 100 points, first since the 95-96 Penguins. And Ryden Nugent-Hopkins, you know, doing what he's doing. Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid. This Oilers team is really, really good, and what they do, and you know, they're looking to get there in the West. You know, Crosby continues to amaze. McKinnon, I think first 100-point season I read the other day, right?
Yeah, as crazy as that sounds, it's his first 100-point season.
And then Mikko Rantanen and the Moose hit 50 goals the other day. He's over 50.
Another one of those guys quietly hitting 50.
And I believe Braden Point's probably having the quietest 50-goal campaign ever.
Yeah, and Point. You know, you figure Point's going to get one in his next 2 games.
Right, easily. I mean, he could.
And
it'd be a quiet.
It'll be his 10th game winner of the season. Watch. Yep. You know, it kind of has that sort of vibe to
it. And as we've talked about on this show throughout the all year, scoring's up, points are up. A lot of guys over 100 points. Yep. A lot of guys over 50 goals this year. A couple guys over 60.
Yeah.
You know, Jack Hughes is a couple points away from hitting. You know,
2 from the Elias record, right?
Yeah, he's 1 from Elias's record, but he's 5 away from. Yeah, he's 4 away from 100 now. He's 1 away from breaking it, which is another milestone in itself. Who would have thought somebody would have got to 96 points? But we knew Jack could do it, and you know he tied it the other night, and he really wants to break it as he did on that 4-point night against Columbus, where it was goal fest for the Devils. You know, it's crazy, and as Braden said, Rantanen tied Sakic last night for the most goals by Avs since they moved to Denver. I mean, I feel like what Mikko Rantanen is doing is ridiculous this year because, you know, Nathan McKinnon, it was all about Nathan McKinnon last year. I feel like it's all about Mikko Rantanen this year for what he's doing. He's kind of willing this Avalanche team to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, he's kind of the captain for the captain.
Right. Yet they aren't doing it with a second line center. Oh, and by the way, breaking news. We do know stuff here.
We do.
So I just want to say that we do know stuff. We do.
We got one.
We both said it. We both said it. No, it's not a lie. I love it. Dynamite drop in there, Monty. Dynamite drop in. What did we say before the deadline about Gabriel Landeskog? Can you remind me?
Seems like we will not see him until the playoffs.
Yep. Remember all that talk about, he's going to come back mid-March? Yeah. We were telling you need to listen because we do know stuff. He was Nikita Kucherov this year. And it was confirmed Saturday night on 32 Thoughts. So chalk one up for the good guys because we told you he wasn't playing the rest of the regular season. Like Kucherov, skating, getting in there, great. Come playoffs, he'll be back in the lineup. He'll be ready to go. And if he isn't ready to go by game 1 or 2 of the first round, then this injury is more serious than people thought. But he'll be ready to go. And the Avalanche will probably have a top spot in Central, like they always do. And it's the same old story in the West, because the Colorado Avalanche are heating up, folks. Heating up. And I think I might have lost Chris again. He has frozen. But as Braden, with a great drop in, a lot of Mikko Rantanen's goals this year at even strength. Unbelievable what he's doing in Colorado. Colorado just continuing to play well each and every night. And, it's going to be interesting to see what they do going forward and where they finish, because they had a tough game against the Ducks, go to overtime, pick up a couple of crucial points here because of Dallas and what Dallas is doing. And Dallas is, beating up on Detroit. It's 5-0 like they're supposed to, and they're going to move closer again. And, hey, you know what? That's fine. And if we look at these playoff races tonight, by the way, we'll be talking about that shortly. So it's going to be, once we get Chris back, I want to talk about some playoff races and where we're going and the countdown to the playoffs, because a week from tonight it starts. April 17th, Monday, April 17th, the playoffs start. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But as I was saying, it's playoff time, counting down to the playoffs. And a lot of playoff matchups tonight, a lot of playing games tonight, a lot of things that are juicy. San Jose's playing Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
Got the Islanders and Caps.
Yeah.
Leafs and Panthers. Later this evening, Nashville, Calgary's a big game. Kraken, Coyotes, Kings, and Canucks. A lot of seeding to be determined. Rangers and Buffalo are playing. Senators and Hurricanes. So a lot of the games on the schedule that matter right now. And you know what? Let's start it off right here. We go to the Western Conference. Seattle's clinched, but the Kings are on a little bit of a losing streak. If the Kings lose again and Seattle wins, they're right there for third spot in the Pacific. And then you got the Winnipeg Jets, Calgary Flames, and Nashville Predators. And pretty much, to me, comes down to, if the Flames can beat Nashville tonight, Nashville's season is done. They ain't making the playoffs. Winnipeg's up 3-1 on San Jose, what they're supposed to be doing. They win tonight, they're going to help their chances of making the playoffs. If Calgary loses tonight, they are done. And they ain't coming back. So what are your thoughts on the West, Chris?
The West is fun, wild, and all sorts of
exciting. Wild West.
And yet could almost all be decided by the end of tonight. Not seeding, but obviously the teams that are in. Look, it comes down to this for Nashville. Can the Nashville Predators score goals for UC Saros? We don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe if they dress him with Kevin Lankinen's name on the back of the jersey, they'll score goals.
Yeah.
I joke about it, but unfortunately the reality is, look, the game against Carolina over the weekend, Saros plays incredible, lights out, didn't make a difference.
Nope.
And over the last about 10 or 12 games that he's played, I think he's gotten less than 2 goals of support. I think it was like 1.5. But Kevin Lankinen's gotten more than double that, which is got to be crazy. I get that there's a lot of reasons for it. Obviously, Nashville is fielding more or less an AHL team at this point. That's the reality. So you're going to get a young team that's up one night, down the next, and then who knows what you're going to get on the third night. There's no retreat, no surrender for them now. They have zero margin for error. They have to win.
Same with the Flames. The Flames have to win.
And the Flames have to win too.
But they left 3 points on the table last week. You can't lose in a shootout to Vancouver.
Can't lose to
And you can't lose Chicago, because if you beat Chicago and then you beat Winnipeg, everything's flipped towards, and the pressure's on Winnipeg to do what they have to do.
Right.
But the pressure's still on the Flames. And I joke it, but I joke about this, but they've been consistently inconsistent. Calgary has been.
Yeah, just when
you just don't know. You just don't know what Calgary team you're gonna get. Did any of us expect them to play that good against Winnipeg? Probably not, after the performance they had against Chicago, but they were upset and they knew they shot themselves in the foot. I think they're gonna come out pretty good because they know they left points on the table
again
against Vancouver. And they're lucky to get a point because they were down 2-0, and that game could have got out of hand real quick.
But it's Vancouver, thankfully.
Yeah, it's Vancouver. So, but this is pretty much it. Make or break for both these teams tonight in Nashville and Calgary. And look, Nashville, I think Lady Luck's probably going to run out on them. They had a heck of a run. It's fun while it lasted, but I just don't see them getting in. I think Winnipeg's continually take care of business. I think they should beat the Sharks, and and you see what happens in that game, and then you go from there, because Winnipeg goes to Minnesota. That's no easy task.
Consider
Tuesday night on the back-to-back, you finish.
Minnesota has something to play for.
You finish it. Right, Minnesota and Colorado. Those are not easy games to finish with, but I think you are going to be able to. I think they got to get some points out of it. I think it starts tonight with San Jose, and you win that one. What do you got?
Well, let's see. Right now, just for the quick proverbial updates, nothing really much has changed. Only thing is the Rangers did sneak a power play goal early in the second period.
But
other than that, no, we've
well, it's 3-0 Ottawa.
It's now 3. Yeah, they just scored.
Look, I mean, I'll say this. I think you can never say never, because the Canes are on a bit of a losing streak, and I think it would have helped the Devils' chances to get at least a point.
Saturday. They needed to beat Boston.
They needed to beat Boston to get the top seed in a Metro. I mean, they could still do it. They might jump back into first place on
tomorrow night,
on Tuesday night, but again,
they
gotta take care of business.
Wait, the Devils play an unrested team for a change? Usually it's the other way around.
I know, right? It's usually the other way around.
It's been a really strange schedule for people that haven't followed the way the schedule works all season. It's been goofy.
Well, I mean, think about it. Buffalo plays 4 games in 5 nights this week.
Oof, that's just rough.
2 back-to-backs.
That's rough. It really is.
Yeah.
And people do not realize just how. I mean, you imagine if they were closer to the playoffs and looking at the last week of the season, just going, really?
Yeah.
I mean, they're still mathematically alive. I understand that, but it's mathematically but realistically dead.
Look, I mean,
but help us out tonight, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get a win, hey, you pull it within you still got to pass Pittsburgh. That's the problem. Like, if there was nobody behind you, okay. If there was nobody in front of you outside the 2 wildcard teams, okay.
Oh, by the way,
I just don't.
How about this for in the same night? All right, so we had Giroux getting his 1,000 point.
Yeah,
I kind of forgot one along the way. The ultimate tip-in master now has 1,000 points. Yep.
Little Joe.
Little Joe, absolute terror in the playoffs. Just ask certain teams.
Well, I mean, look, Joe Pavelski's been. I mean, he's been everything and more Dallas wanted when they signed him. I mean, this guy's just been awesome there. Picking up points, scoring big goals, putting the team on his back.
And he does it in style, too.
He does. I mean, that year in the bubble, it was Miro Heiskanen and it was Joe Pavelski.
So basically, he got his 1,000 point via a nice shiny goal. Good deal. Always nice. Dallas is up 5-0, by the way.
I mean, look, you go to the Central. Look, it's going to come down to Dallas, Minnesota, Colorado. I think Colorado's going to find a way.
How crazy!
I think Colorado's going to find a way to do it. But again, this is what we're talking about.
Oh, I want the Minnesota-Dallas series desperately in every way imaginable.
Me too. I would love that. But this is what I'm talking about. Good teams beating around bad teams. Devils did it to Columbus. Dallas is doing it to Detroit right now. Just beat them up. Take your 2 points and go home. Mm-hmm. That's what you need to do. But here's the thing for me. We talked about the wild card, and then you got the divisions here. Pacific. Can the Oilers somehow make it a Vegas, LA first round series? But then again, the Kraken are still hanging around. So a lot of big games on the schedule. We go to the East. We've talked about it up and down. It's interesting to see that the Islanders are still kicking around. Panthers are playing way much better. Penguins somehow still have life. It said Buffalo, but they're in right there.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see this playing out?
Oof. At one point, most every betting site out there had all 3 teams in the East that are in the bubble as favorites to make the playoffs.
Wow.
So that is how confused even the bookies are at this point. The worst of the teams, I think, was Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was at -120, by the way. So that tells you a lot about they don't know, and if they don't know, and a lot of experts seem to think they know, but they might not. Nothing is certain, and we're seeing that. Obviously, we're seeing that tonight with the way Washington came out in the first period, and the youth gone wild, literally.
The thing is Washington's always been a house of horrors for the Islanders. It really has. I mean, this is not an easy game for them. I know they beat them last time, but that was home ice, and it's just for some reason they just can't beat the Capitals. And it's always been a tough out for them.
And look,
to me, if look, the Toronto Florida game's no score.
That's been a fun game so far.
That's been a really fun game. If Florida figures out a way to win, they're going to clinch a playoff spot. Now we're down to 2 teams for 1 spot.
Yep.
And then they're the Penguins just sitting there and watching what's going on. They're going to like the fact that the Islanders lost, but they have to take advantage of,
And that's not automatic either. Nothing is automatic here.
There's nothing automatic. I think the way Florida is playing, I think they figure out a way to get in. But that's outside of that, I don't know. It's crazy.
Wow, Samsonov just made another incredible save.
Yeah, I mean, look, Samsonov's the goalie for Toronto right now. If he's gonna play like that, the Leafs have a chance against the Lightning and Andrei Vasilevsky.
Yeah, I mean, he has 27 saves right now already.
Look, think about it. If Florida had lost that game, they were, a minute away from their season being over, and then they rallied and won overtime.
Yeah.
If they don't win that game, the previous game against Toronto, we're not even having this discussion about the Panthers. Mm-hmm. They're out, and they could still be out, but you never know. I'm just not – if Pittsburgh gets in, I just see them losing in the first round. I just do. It's going to be another one and done team again, not – winning a playoff round for the first time since 2018.
Right.
That was the last time they won a playoff round. They've lost in the first round. They lost in the play-in round.
Mm-hmm.
Look, last year they had a chance. They probably should have won.
That was their chance.
This year, I don't see it. Goaltending's too weak. Team's too old. And I think the way they're probably matching up with Boston anyway, so it doesn't matter. So they're going to get trounced.
Is it just wrong to say that over a 7-game series, teams can easily figure them out?
Yeah, easily.
Because that's been not a debate, but sort of just like a general consensus over not just this year, but pretty much since 2020.
Yeah, you know what to do against Pittsburgh. You know how to beat them. You take away the top line and you let the rest of the team beat you.
Yep. And they can't do it.
And they can't do it. Look, I'm not saying a Sidney Crosby led team can't win a series, but he can't do it by himself.
No.
And when Malkin gets into playoffs, you see his history, you get under his skin, he takes stupid penalties, and the team converts on the power play, and you can get him off his game easily.
Yeah.
And their goaltending I'm not sold on their goaltending.
Yeah.
I'm just not. And look, the Islanders are built for the playoffs, but they got to get there.
I know.
And every chance they get, you think they can score goals. It's great. They can play at UBS Arena. Right now, they just can't play away from it.
It's true.
And they can't score outside of home ice, too.
Yeah, they're having issues. They're having the same issues we've heard for the last 3-4 seasons. Great defensively.
Great
goaltending. Should get you far. Doesn't, because you have to get there first.
Right, exactly. And that's similar to what we heard about the Flames, too. Do the Devils figure out a way to get the top spot? Maybe. I don't know.
And look, there's no foregone conclusion there either, because guess who the Devils play on Thursday? And guess where they play?
Washington. In Washington.
Speaking of a house of horrors.
Yeah. I mean, look, they've played better against Washington this year than they have in years past. But it's still Washington.
And that's the problem.
Even
with or without Ovechkin, I don't care who's in the lineup, who's out of the lineup. That is not an easy game.
No, it's not. Not for this team.
No. In a couple of years, probably. Now,
but
got to get there.
Got to get there.
Look, we will keep pointing this out, and it's ironic that this is probably going to prove prophetic. What did Patrick Kane say at the beginning of the year about the Devils?
They're like the 2009 Blackhawks.
A lot of the same things. Gotta take your lumps, even in a breakout season. And that's what the Devils are going through right now. And look, there's another team in the Western Conference that's kind of going through that now a little bit too. Just they're flying a bit under the radar because they can. That's probably, I would argue, that's Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's been second year in the league. They made the playoffs, all well and good, but they're going to have to take some lumps too.
Yep. That they were that team where it's like, if their special teams ever got going, and
if their goaltending was good,
doesn't have to be good, just average. Just average. That's all you had to be. All you need is league average.
And they get goal scoring, and they get goal scoring by committee.
They're balanced. McCann has 30 plus. Did you expect that going in? No. Did you expect them to have a whole bunch of players in double digits for goals? Probably not.
Maybe. No. Maybe a handful. Count them on one hand.
Yeah. But that's, again, they find ways to win. I don't know. They're still, I guess you would call it in a sense, defensively sound.
Yes.
They're among the top 5 or 6 teams in shots on goal allowed at home and scoring chances allowed at home. That's winning hockey. That's how you get things done, and you can score somewhat consistently.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take a lot. Just nudge over that 3 goal mark consistently enough, and you'll make the playoffs.
Exactly.
I am amused by some of the updates. The Rangers apparently have finally figured out how to play Buffalo. Congratulations.
It only took them the whole year.
Yeah, go figure, right?
Yep.
But again, it's one of those things where, and you're gonna see this a lot tonight. By the way, you maybe you're right, Jim. this will be our one nutty statistic of the night because it probably won't last. So, Washington gets outchanced by the Islanders in the first period, right?
Yep.
They get outscored 3-0.
Yep.
Flip the second.
Yep.
Washington has more shots. Guess what's about to happen?
Islanders about to score.
Yeah, you gotta figure it's coming. You know, they'll get that one.
It's gotta come, right?
You got to think it's like
I mean
that whole game has almost been against the grain of play. It really has, except for maybe the I'd argue maybe the second goal that Washington scored, but it just seems like the other two goals were completely against, like the Strome goal, right? You know, a few minutes in was like, huh? That's not something that Sorokin look. That doesn't happen normally at all. So I mean, you know, this has been a backwards sort of game from the get go. Man, I mean, you look at even some of these chances. I mean, it's pretty much all Strome and Sandin creating for Washington, and that's it. I mean, I know.
But Sandin's been a great pickup for them. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that was a sneaky trade right there who they got for Gustafsson. Rasmus Sandin, he just never got his chance in Toronto, and when he did, he looked really good. So they might regret that one.
Yeah, I gotta tend to think that they almost do.
Yeah.
Okay. Who are we kidding? They do.
Yeah, they do.
So you figure, all right, so we got 2 or 3 games left for teams. In some cases, 1, depending on who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to put us dum-dums on the spot.
Yeah.
The non-obvious questions, because the bubble's its own fun conundrum. Okay. Does Colorado find a way to snipe the top spot in the West?
Yes. Yes. I think they do.
All right. Now the dicier parts.
Okay.
Way dicier. Does Dallas open at home next week against Minnesota?
Oh, I'll give it a 60%.
Yeah, because their schedule is not automatic by any. Well, look, neither team is, to be honest.
No.
Okay.
I'll give it 60%.
I guess the almost unthinkable, because we already alluded to this once in the show.
Yeah.
Does Seattle catch LA?
Man, 50-50 on that one.
That's the toughest one, without a doubt.
I think it's 50-50 because here's the thing for me. I think LA is going to play better tonight against Vancouver on home ice, and I think they're going to find a way to get the victory. Seattle's got a layup with Arizona tonight, so I think you could put 2 points in the win.
Remember what Seattle closes with?
Who do they have?
Ooh,
Vegas. They got Vegas.
It gets real spicy quick.
They get Vegas later in the week.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And who else they get?
It's like pizza. It really is for them. Vegas.
You know what? I don't think they're gonna catch LA. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
And remember the key point in this: play at Arizona, and then right up to 15.
Yeah.
Well, the 17 and the 15.
You got the Kings playing Vancouver.
Kings got this easy.
And then they got Anaheim. I think they're going to be able to lock it up. I think they'll lock up the 3 seed, and they'll probably play Edmonton or Vegas in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's why I allude to people's like, this isn't really as 50-50 as you think, only because of.
And I think they're going to be able to lock it. Oh.
Yeah, that's why I allude to people like this isn't really. Have we looped within our own loop, Jim?
No, I don't know why something came up on my phone. Sorry.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is. But we looped in front of our loop. But here's the thing. For me, I think if you think about it, right, I think you're going to get Vegas, and I think you're going to get LA potentially in the first round. And that's the one matchup I want to see, just because I'm a glutton and I want to see Quick take out his old team. But because the Oilers, I think the way the Oilers are playing, I think they could get the top spot in the Pacific. If not, you're still going to have a great first round matchup too. But you know what? To me, it's going to come down to who wants it more. And right now, we see the teams that want it. You can see Carolina is definitely struggling without Svechnikov in the lineup. And you know, things are pretty much status quo right now on the scoreboard. Again, will it? You know, Oilers Avs tomorrow is going to be a great game. Potential preview of a rematch of Western Conference Final. Every game matters. Every point matters. And this is why you don't need an expanded playoff. And this is why Stanley Cup playoffs and end of the regular season is the best thing going right now. And learn to love it, by the way.
Yeah, appreciate. I guess we need to appreciate what we have here, for better or worse, because it could be so much worse. I mean, I'll point this out real quick. The NBA play-in playoffs is all you need to know as to why the NHL should just leave it be.
You play to get into the playoffs. That's what 82 games are for.
Yeah, not needing extra potentially 2 games to get into the playoffs.
And no, by the way, that's a lot of bad basketball you're watching. A lot of it.
This is gonna be rough. I mean, try betting on it. Oh wait,
horrible decision. Just bet Monte Carlo this week. That's it. That's what I'm saying. But
spicy.
But here's the thing. Look, wrap it up right here. Nice bow. Stanley Cup playoffs start April 17th. We got playing games tonight. Nashville and Calgary must watch out west. That's a game you don't, like I said last week, with Winnipeg and Calgary, this game must watch. Check it out. We got you covered here at FullPressHockey.com. Check it all out. Check us out at Full Press NHL on Twitter. You get this podcast, get everything, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube, Full Press coverage everywhere. We'll be back again next week. Start of Stanley Cup playoffs. Try to do maybe same day next week to get a little preview in. For Chris Wassel, voice of Full Press Hockey, I'm Jim Berenger. Ian behind the producing. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the regular season and the start of Stanley Cup playoffs. Peace out.